This meeting's being live streamed.
Yay.
Yay.
Okay. And as always, I'm going to, oh yeah, I see it appearing there now. So I'm going to share the link quick.
Perfect.
I've learned to set up my posts in advance so that I
Nice.
just then
have to copy the link.
Yeah, paste the link in because it was taking me too long before.
Fair.
And I would be in a panic, like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
I mean, it's what we do, right?
Yeah.
It's fine.
And get on my phone. And hopefully this time I don't have any accidents where I play someone's like YouTube intro music while we're trying to have quiet time.
Oh, has that happened before?
I did that twice last time. I felt so bad. Okay. All right. We are shared and we are live and we are ready to go.
Nice.
I think we have a couple people here, so welcome to anyone who is here so far.
Welcome.
It's good to see you. I'll be waiting a couple minutes to get a few more people in before we do intros and stuff, so we're not just, speaking out into the void. So how's everything been with your podcast and stuff that you started?
It's so exciting, honestly. I'm very excited about like future episodes because we obviously have them kind of recorded in advance. So there are some episodes coming up and we review them as they're like being edited and stuff. And I was reviewing one like earlier this week and it just got me so excited about like everything. And I was like, this is such a good episode. So it's very exciting, honestly.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, the three of you have a good back and forth. It's a good group.
Right. Yeah. I'm really excited for everyone to like see more of it and get to know us better because it's really fun to kind of get to know them better as we're doing this. So yeah, it's just been great fun basically.
Yeah. I might be starting a podcast. I'm not
nice.
totally sure yet. It's an area I'm kind of interested in, and I'm actually having a meeting about it after this. So it
cool.
might be coming up. And when I look at yours and other people's, I'm like, oh, this is so inspiring. It looks fun.
It's really fun, honestly.
We've got Devil's Air here. Hello. And Golnep. Hello. It's great to see you both. Oh yeah, yes, I saw the meme. Sorry, I haven't responded. It's been a crazy few days, but it was a very good meme. I appreciated it.
Nice.
Devil's Air posts. I'm sorry, I'm gonna forget the character's name. This anime character. When they first saw me, they thought I looked like them, and they have the little,
nice.
The Office meme of like it's the same picture.
Nice.
It's cute. It's on. Yeah, I'm tagged in it on Twitter, so.
We have to like look at that at some point.
Yeah. So we've got 5 people here. Oh, hey Harley, how's it going? So I think this is as good a time as any to get in a little intro. When Jan and I were sprinting, we wound up talking like way too much, and I had to cut off like 2 of my sprints. So I'm hoping we can do a little more this time.
Okay.
But yeah, sometimes you get carried away. So yeah, if you want to tell everyone a little bit about yourself.
Sure. I'm Hananya, in case you haven't noticed. I post videos twice a week on YouTube, so usually Tuesdays and Fridays, and the occasional live stream that I'm either in on someone else's channel or live streaming myself apparently sometimes. So yeah, that's happening. I am going to be part of the stitching collection, so shout out to Holly. So yay for that. I'm very excited. It's going to be my first publication like ever. I mean, I've published something on Wattpad, but this is like feels more official in a way. I don't know. So I'm excited for that. I have a podcast going on, which is really cool. It launched like almost 2 weeks ago now. So very excited about the upcoming episode on Monday. So that's also very, very cool. Other than that, I basically just write way too many stories because I have way too many ideas.
It's a good thing. And I mean, that's kind of the topic that we were going to touch on between sprints today, that habit of starting projects and not finishing them, which I had a couple people responding and being like, not me.
Right? It's like,
Yeah. I grow all a
yeah.
little guilty.
Mhm.
Oh, Harley said hi to you. And oh, Saki Hanajima is the anime character.
Okay. Interesting. I'm gonna have to like
Yeah.
Google all those.
Yeah.
That's fun.
I was a major like manga and anime kid when I
Oh,
was younger,
nice.
and every once in a while when I get little snippets of it, I'm like, oh, I kind of want to go back.
Yeah,
But
fair.
I'm so far behind on everything.
I've never
Um,
really watched anime, so I can't really
yeah,
join in on that. But
well,
yeah, it's fine.
I grew up in the comic industry, so it was kind
Mhm.
of an easy like little transition to differentiate myself from the American comics of my dad when I was younger.
Oh, fair enough.
Find my own thing. Um, oh yeah, and your podcast, is it
Mhm.
on YouTube or like Spotify and everywhere else?
It's basically everywhere you can listen
Okay.
to a podcast, and we're also doing it on YouTube as a visual podcast. So you can actually watch us talk as we're doing it on YouTube, and Spotify somehow also has the video. So
Yeah, I noticed that on some
enjoy that.
podcasts now, which is great.
I
Yeah.
know, which I never noticed that before. I never knew that that was a thing until I checked out our podcast on Spotify, and I was like, okay, I didn't know that
Nice.
that was a thing on Spotify. But yeah,
Yeah, it's cool to see.
yeah.
Um, to give everyone a little Stygian update and life update. There isn't a huge update since last week, honestly. We're just chugging towards the finish line here. We're still doing the Kickstarter. I think as of today we have a month left, or it might be like 31 days. So we're at the halfway point. As always, if anyone hasn't donated yet, please do. We are going to be adding a new little reward for, and I'm not going to say the number because I need to confirm that, for the people who've donated so far. And I think a few more people coming along. We're going to have a cute little keychain that donators get. So keep an eye out for that. I'll be making an announcement. For anyone who is from the collection who's chatting here, which tends to happen, or for anyone who's donated on the like get it on the ground level tier where you can get a pin. Our pins are officially in. I
Woohoo.
am super, super excited. They look great. They're these cute little lapel pins. They also look great on a tie. I learned last night when Pei put one on his tie. It looks really good.
Nice.
So they're pretty awesome. And I've got a sack of them that I'm going to be sending out to people. So
Nice.
that should be really fun.
So exciting.
And that's yeah, that's pretty much it for now. Kickstarter, keep an eye out. We're getting more art in. We're going to be posting stuff. And Soul, our social media youth manager, because we're Luddites over here, is going to be doing some posting on TikTok and stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to
Fun.
seeing what they create. And checking on comments here. Oh, Golnath likes your name.
Thank you.
Yu Yu Hakusho. Oh yeah. Oh, I remember that. I read that in Shonen Jump, that like collection of mangas. Hello, Wrangler. How's it going? And I need to finish school soon. I want to support more Iron Age creators. That is always a good thing to hear.
Nice.
And hello to Dreaming Truth author. So my plan for today, we do have a topic, but I want to
Mhm.
do a sprint and then we'll chat a little bit about that topic. I think that'll be
Sounds
a good
good.
idea just to launch us off with a bit of writing first. So my plan is 15-minute sprints. We'll do a couple of those and a
Mhm.
20-minute and then wrap it up with a half-hour sprint to really delve into it. And that'll be the
Sounds good.
conversation with some talking in between about delaying our projects.
Procrastination all the way.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna set up our timer for 15 minutes, and everyone in the chat, let us know what you're working on if you're writing today. And what are you working on?
I'm working on my historical project, kind of like I call it historical romance, but
Okay.
yeah, it's just kind of like not referencing any actual historical events. It's just more the time period it's set in. So that's what I'm working on. I'm revising that book, which yeah, I don't I've learned that I don't like revising. I like the drafting and like the first draft kind of brainstorming phase and stuff like that, but like revisions and editing and like all of that is just It's a lot.
Yeah, it can
So
feel a lot more like work, I
yeah.
think.
And it's a lot more fun to think about like other things, you know.
Yeah,
So
well, when you're at the beginning, you have like, oh, my character is going to be this and this is going to
mhm.
happen. It's all exciting. And then when it's written, you're like, okay, well, I did it.
Yeah. And now I gotta mold it into something better, but I don't know
Yeah,
how.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'm doing too. I was going to be outlining a new thing, but I've just kind of slid into editing
Mm.
the last draft that I finished, which I should do anyway. So I'm just letting it happen.
Yay for not procrastinating though.
Yeah, yeah,
That's pretty good.
for the moment.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna get our 15-minute timer going and
Yes.
we
Sounds good.
will start writing.
Awesome.
Time's up on that one. Our little beep beep beep
So
timer.
fast.
Yeah. I was just searching around most of that one for my like the
For
right
your
document.
draft, yeah.
Yeah, I sent it the first time and then I opened it up. I'm like, I swear I wrote more in this. And then I
Right.
realized I had it open and I hadn't saved it. So I had to go back and save it and send it again.
Yeah.
Now I have it. I got 150 words in. It's okay.
Hey,
All is right in the
so
world.
good.
How was yours?
Um, I got stuck on a timeline issue. I feel like
Oh no.
it's not gonna work out.
Oh no.
So I'm trying to figure out the timeline now because there's some events that happen and like I want it to not be like obvious all the time, but at the same time it's like
It's something
I
that's
can't
like
do
very
this
much.
basically if I want this to happen. So it's just all like uh,
That's
yeah.
the problem with historical stuff.
It's yeah. In general, I feel like it's just yeah. I don't know. I'm gonna have to figure that out at some point. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Are you just focusing on the timeline now, or are you gonna like leave it for a bit and go on to another
I'll
part?
probably leave it for a bit because I know that like the rest of the story, I'm basically not even like fully revising it at the moment. I'm just kind of looking through it and being like, okay, what needs to change?
Okay.
What do I need to figure out? And that's kind of what I'm leaving myself comments on right now.
Okay.
And then hopefully I will have everything together and I can do a full on like revision and rewriting and like all of that. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I always hate when
A
you're at
lot.
that phase and you're like, oh, I'm just gonna make some notes and then go back and fix it all. And then
Yeah.
you find like a glaring plot hole. It's like,
Yeah. So now I'm like, I'd rather fix the start right now because I'm like
yeah.
1/3 of the way through the book. And I'm like, I'd rather go back and just start actually rewriting the stuff that needs to be rewritten, like implementing all the changes. I'd rather do that than trying to figure this out right now. But
Yeah.
you know, it has to happen, but it's just yeah.
Yeah. I
I don't
mean,
know.
there'll be a moment when you're ready for it.
Yeah, I feel like what I'm gonna do is just continue on reading it and then make notes and kind of comment on stuff. And then hopefully that will help me figure out like what happens later and if that somehow ripples back in a
Yeah,
good way. So
true. It
I might
could,
just have to do that.
yeah, your answer might be in the rest of the story.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's okay. Timelines. Yeah.
I mean, that's what revision's for, right? I'm just gonna check on the chat here because I disappeared for a bit. Oh, hello, Sheraton. It's nice to see you. And Ian, great to see you as well. And Bree, we've got, I love how many Stygian people show up every
I
Saturday.
know.
It makes me happy. Yeah, I'm fine. I'm glad you could finally catch one too, Bree. It can be like a bit of a awkward time, especially going into the nicer weather and stuff, but I
Mm.
find it's better than, you know, making people get up early on a Saturday or trying for a Saturday night. I think that would be just, you know, asking to
Yeah.
fail. Uh, oh, the hair color. Yeah, this is a new wig that I got for a photo shoot that I'm doing at the beginning of
Oh,
May. That's
nice.
a spring themed thing, and the dress too, I'm just doing like 90s, and I have one of those like faux fur, looks like I killed the
Oh,
Grinch
nice.
cover-ups too. I'm just trying it out today, and I'm enjoying it a lot. I'm a like beaded choker too. So there'll be a proper photo shoot with this at some point. But yeah, I never want to take
Nice.
this wig off now. It's so much fun.
That's really cool. Yeah.
Hello to Billy Bandit. Nice to see you. Trying your first one now for a stream. Oh, awesome. Timelines don't go Five Nights at Freddy's timeline on yourself or even Kingdom Hearts. Those two are a mess.
Yeah.
Revision is problem for future me. Exactly.
Yes.
As literature devil says, quote, the first draft can be as rough as possible. The thing with the first draft is getting it done. Yeah, definitely. And then
That's how I approach all of my first drafts. So that's
then
why
you
they're messy. Fix it.
hello to Zith. I hope I got that name right. And Stephen, good to see you. And oh yeah, the green, it's not like Christmas at least. So so many nice people in the chat. Yeah.
Yay.
Holly is a kitty cat helicopter pilot. Where does the helicopter pilot come in?
Because you oversee everything.
I guess. I'm kind of like a helicopter parent for all of the Stygian authors.
Exactly.
So we were going to talk a bit about delaying our projects. Did you want to sort of kick off that conversation since it was your
Yeah,
concept?
totally. The thing I feel like with me is I draw inspiration from everything around me. So I have story ideas pop up so often that I just want to write that instead of doing whatever I'm doing, just because it's new and exciting. And as I said, I like the drafting a lot more than I like the like editing or revising. So getting the initial idea is like the thing that I enjoy the most with like the writing process. And that's why I guess I have so many ideas and I'm like, oh, I just want to write them. And that makes it so that I don't actually finish anything. So
Yeah.
yeah.
How many drafts do you currently have, do you think?
Like drafts.
Like
I don't
the
know if
ones
I've
that
like
you haven't.
full first drafts, but I have like multiple projects sitting around 50,000 words. I have multiple projects sitting around 20, 30, wherever in between. Some are just kind of concept ideas. So they're more just maybe like 1,000 words of just word vomit. Some have 10,000 words because I allow myself to once in a while do a 10K day on something completely different. So then that's how I get my words in for those. It really depends. I have probably up to 70 ideas at the moment and counting because they keep expanding. But yeah.
That's a good thing though in part, right? Because at least you do always have that I guess stable of concepts that you
Yeah.
can pull on
Pick and choose.
like when inspiration hits, or if you see something that people are really enjoying, you can go, okay, this is a genre that people are going to like. Maybe I want to write about this and start putting it out there a little bit. And you already have that sort of ready to go. But I totally understand that feeling. I have my writing folder on my computer where it's just random titles, and sometimes I'll go in and I'll open them up and be like, what is
was
this?
this?
And some will just have like one sentence in there. Like,
yes, same.
Like, why did I feel the need to start a Word doc to write one sentence and then never touch it again?
I have the same thing.
Yeah.
I just have like this whole idea shelf is what I call it. And I just have like random little things in there. But sometimes it's really just a few sentences or like one sentence. And it's just like, what was I trying to say with this?
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I wish I could think of an example, because there have been some that I just open up and I'm like, this is getting deleted. I'm deleting this.
Yes. I mean, one of mine was literally called supernatural-ish thingy. And then that was it. There was no notes. That was it. And I was like, what was I trying to say?
Like, it's such a general concept.
Yes.
Like, but so no, that needed to be written down.
Yeah. And now I'm like, okay, I've since, because I have like 2 videos on this on my channel where it's like one video in 2 parts about all of my story ideas. And at the time I was like, I don't know what this is. I can't tell you what this is. But now I'm like, oh, that's what I meant. But it's just like, yeah.
So how have you been tackling this problem?
Basically allow myself to word vomit it and then not think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a good idea.
And I usually have it kind of like, if I have it in my head for multiple kind of days, then I allow myself to word vomit it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, like if
also, I'm gonna like get my camera to focus.
Oh.
There you go.
So if you know that it's not gonna just be supernatural thingy, then it's worth writing it down.
Yeah. So if I basically had this story idea the other day. And if that keeps like in my head for like the all week, I know that I'm gonna have to write it down. So then I'll like start either texting it to myself or like word vomiting it somewhere. So I at least have the initial idea. But I'm like somehow pretty good with like, if it's been in my head for like weeks and I just write like maybe 2 paragraphs, I can still in my head be like, oh, this was a story idea and I had this in mind for it, and I had this in mind for it, and I had this, and this was going to come. And even if I didn't write it down completely, I can sort of grab it back if I have the initial idea. So
I think yeah, like we have to put our ideas down. That's not like
Yeah.
if you're coming up with a million ideas, like don't ignore
Write it
them,
down.
right? Because
Yes.
also when you do go back to them,
Hmm.
sometimes it's really inspiring. Like if you've just let it sit for a bit and you had that little initial idea, but it wasn't enough to write a whole thing at the time. If
Hmm.
you remember it and come back maybe like a month later, it might hit you totally differently and you might know
Yeah.
exactly what to do with it. So
Yeah.
I feel like people who suffer from this, it can feel like, "Ah, I don't ever actually get anything done," but it's actually it's good.
It's good. Yeah.
It's good. It's a good way of having your thoughts kind of organized and making that available to yourself too.
Hmm.
Um, but at the same time, like you do have to sometimes sit down and go, I have to finish something.
Yes.
That
I
can
have to
be kind
force
of,
myself to do it.
yeah. Well, you wrote a short story and I have yet to be able
Yep.
to do that. So
Yeah. I mean, that was originally kind of a word vomit thing in my idea shelf. So
okay, cool.
yeah.
So there you go. Sometimes your word
Hmm.
vomit ideas in the idea shelf can be a published short story.
Yeah. Could be morphed into something completely different because that's what happened in the
Yeah.
process.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
yeah, it was really nice doing that. I just kind of pulled from my idea shelf. I was like, I have so many ideas already. Let me just check if something would fit. So
Yeah, that
yeah.
like that is a good point about, like anthologies and submissions specifically, because even if it's not something that you're necessarily gonna latch onto as your full novel, you have that ready because
Hmm.
sometimes you see something you want to submit to and you're like, oh, but now I have to come up with the idea and I have to
Hmm.
outline. And if you already have it there, then it's so much easier to get
Yeah.
those out into the world for sure.
Yeah. Especially when you don't see the email until like way later.
Okay. Well, we've been having lots of problems with that. I think it's gotten better. I hope so. I've sent out some group emails or I haven't
Mhm.
received from everyone, and now I'm just really paranoid about it. I'm like, we
Yeah.
can't still be marked as spam, can we? Like,
Yeah. No,
okay.
it wasn't even in my spam. I didn't read it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah. The exception was in my spam, but like the
oh
initial email
yeah,
wasn't. So
yeah.
yeah.
When I've been sending the group messages out, they like to
Mm.
go to spam. Like, these are all people I talk to. They have responded to me. Come on,
Right?
Gmail.
Yeah. Being
uh,
stupid.
yeah. Oh, we had a confirmation about the helicopter pilot, and I just realized they were saying because of the headset. I'm like, oh yeah, the mic
Oh,
aspect. That's the
oh
pilot part of
okay.
it. Yeah,
Okay.
I get it.
Fair enough.
Devil's Air said, I also have an idea for and world with blood magic, but I can't. It's a gender-based blood magic. I want to talk to someone about it because I have no idea for the female blood magic. Oh, that's interesting.
Nice.
Male part, I have mostly need to get the gray areas out. Again, though, I need help with this. Okay. Okay. Well, I know you're in my Discord, so I I have to be careful with promises these days because I'm so busy. But post about it in the Discord if you haven't already. Sorry if I missed it. And there are almost 100 of us in there now. So someone is going to latch on and want to help you with this for sure, I think. Bree, I let ideas marinate for years sometimes. The story will tell me when it wants to be written. Yeah, I think that's something great about creativity. Like a lot of the time it just gets dictated to you.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's a curse. But you guys come through spam literally every time. No.
No.
No. Okay. I think at some point, and I've had this in the back of my head, I like, do I need to do this? I think I need to just reach out to everyone on like the social media pages I have for them and say, please check your spam. You may have missed
Oh yeah.
five emails. Even when I move it to inbox. Okay. I have to figure
Wait,
that out
what?
somehow.
Okay.
Yeah, that's very weird. You need to mark us as safe and add to contacts. Okay, well, maybe I'll advise that for if it works. Wrangler, by the way, Wrangler, thank you for subscribing. I saw that you did. I appreciate it. Every
Nice.
scene you wrote in your book, thought of how it would present in 3 different forms before I typed it out, as a video game, a comic book page, or on a TV screen. That I had a habit of giving myself a headache. I like that though, that I haven't heard anyone say that before. And I find that that's something that I kind of do as someone who was raised like with comics. I picture it in that kind of like, what's the word? Storyboarding, like with
Right.
comics or movies, I'll picture it that way a lot of the time. So that's how a lot of my my writing comes through. Yeah.
Do you make
Oh,
vision boards then?
not as much as you would think. I do a little bit, usually only going into NaNoWriMo, but I want to do more of that, especially since I want to share more of my process on social media.
Nice.
And I find that that's good for it, like more notes and visuals and things that aren't just in my head
Hmm.
is going to be better. So it's a habit I want to get into.
Nice.
Do you do them?
Not really. I do feel like I think about my stories usually in like a movie kind of way, which is probably why the language, like the dialogue and stuff, is what comes naturally and like what comes first.
Hmm.
But that's kind of how I see them. So I see them as like a movie in my head
Yeah.
almost. So
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
That's cool.
Sheraton asked you a question.
Oh,
It was a little bit earlier, so like a little bit up,
oh, oh.
which said, "What makes it difficult for you to make a short story?
Oh.
Is it only figuring out the ending, or is there anything, any other thing in the process which complicates it for you?"
So I've thought about this quite a bit over the past couple years because I had this idea that if I just sat down and made myself do it, I would be able to get it. But I think it is to do with the end. It's related to my existing writing style where I'm used to writing epics. I
Mhm.
write like big fantasy things. I know a time when Demons wasn't, that was different. It was a very like concise thing that I just wanted to put out in the world, relating back to, trying to just get something out there. That was
Mhm.
my piece of like, okay, just publish something, just do it, just put something out, and then you can work on your other stuff.
Mhm.
So generally, though, I work on things for years and years and years, and I have no idea where they're going to end. I just keep going and going and going with a rough idea, and I can outline individual books, but not the entire story. I don't write with an end in mind, and that applies to short stories, I think, because I think if you're going to do a short story, you want to know what's my beginning, what's my middle, and my end, and then you could sort of work within that and cut it down and make it a short story. But that's what I have yet to figure out. So I think it's a matter of waiting for a short story to come to me that I want to write,
Mhm.
and that it just hasn't happened yet. So
Fair
that's
enough.
what it all boils down to, I believe. I just haven't found my short story yet. When I do, I'll be able to write it. So it's we're at oh wait, comments. I have an idea for a 100K fantasy, but I'm not ready to tackle that kind of word count, so I'm starting small with Kidlit. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Fair.
Also, when you have multiple concepts, you can practice a whole lot, which is great. Practice in little genres and little bits, and like you were saying, 10,000 words. Um, do you know Abby Emmons? I don't know her, but I know of her.
Yeah.
Could do a
Same.
really
Same response to that. I know of her. Yeah.
Yeah. When I was researching writers on YouTube, I've came across quite a few
Mhm.
when I was reaching out to people and stuff. And I think George Saunders talked about working on his short story Sea Oaks for 10 years because he couldn't think of the ending until one day he witnessed something in
Oh
like a
wow.
supermarket. That's great.
See, drawing
I
inspiration from anything.
I love that. I love stories like that. It's so great. Okay, so I think we should do
Do another
another
sprint.
15-minute. Yes,
Mhm.
it's so easy to get carried away with a chat.
I know.
I love talking to everyone. Sometime once camp is done, we need to just have another, random conversation
Random
stream,
chat.
I think,
Yeah.
without letting random people into the video, because that was
Yes. Let's not do that again.
I'll live in infamy.
This is going to
Okay.
be our inside joke forever.
It will. And someone always asks, what happened? It's like,
What? Yeah. Let's not repeat that.
yeah, I'd rather not. Okay.
You had
I'm
to be
gonna,
there.
yeah, or
Yeah.
not.
Or not. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna start our timer now. We're gonna do another 15 minutes for this one.
Yes.
Okay. Talk to you soon.
See ya.
Time's up.
So fast every single
I
time.
I know that's it. That's why I want to get in like at least one long sprint in this
Mhm.
session because the 15 minutes, I like them and they're great when you're taking breaks, but sometimes you just want like a little bit more.
Yeah,
They
more of
go
a
pretty
deep
fast.
dive.
Yeah.
Definitely.
What was yours like this time around?
It was a little better, I guess. I mean, I was just reading through it and making notes, but I don't know. My own writing makes me smile sometimes because I forget that I had written certain things. So it's just like, oh, I like this sentence, and then it just, it's
I love
nice.
when that happens because
Yeah.
you're separate from it for a little while and then you're like,
Mhm.
oh, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
easier to like your stuff when you're looking back on it after like
Mhm.
taking a break, I think.
Yeah, in general, I feel like I'm like that just because I forget very quickly.
Mm.
So I can like watch a movie and then forget what's happened next week.
Oh no.
So it's like, oh yeah, I know where I watched that movie. I know
Well,
I've read
it's
that book, but I don't remember everything.
I
So
don't remember like lots of details. I always found when people were like there are people I know who will quote things and they'll know every little detail of like I wish I could do that.
mhm,
But yeah, I know I'll remember the general plot of
mhm.
things. I won't be able to say, oh, like on page 10 this happened. And that's why I was a very bad comic nerd. Because
Yeah.
I found in that culture there was a lot of like in this issue this happened with this person. I'm like,
Mm.
I don't know.
Nope, not
I don't
me.
know. Maybe it did.
Yeah.
I'll take your word for it.
Mhm. I'm the same when people are like, oh yeah, I'm in like this episode or this chapter. And I'm like, you got to tell me where in that story that is because I have no idea what you
Like
mean.
that doesn't help at all.
No.
I got like 348 words
Oh,
edited in that
nice.
one, so it's okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely
Good
better when I'm
progress
not spending time hunting for the
for
right
your
draft.
document.
Yeah. Devil's Air had a suggestion, maybe an idea for a short story is writing a small fairy tale like story in your main story, stuff that can be one page. I have thought about that, something that's sort of in the world, and I actually have a little bit of an idea, but it's not fully formed yet. It's just something sort of in the A Time When Demons world that I might want to do. Um, Sheraton, to me, it is simple to do short stories. I struggle with stretching and developing the details.
Okay.
Yeah, like some people are just very good at those short little segments, and I envy that. Uh, Ian, I can't like anything I write until I'm in the way end editing phase. Until then, I'm not seeing my work clearly outside of construction.
Okay, fair.
And Bree finished my 2 poems for the day. Yay!
Yay.
That's
Good job.
awesome. This way?
I was gonna say, is your headset out?
Hang on.
No worries.
There we go.
Yeah, there you go.
Did any of that come through?
Yeah, I mean, we
Oh,
still
okay.
heard you, so
Okay.
that's fine.
Oh, good. Okay. Because I know I have
The
decent
sounded
speakers
different.
on my computer. Yeah. All right. I pulled this out. I hate
No
Mac
worries.
because it doesn't have actual USBs. So I have to have
Oh
like
yeah,
I can't show it, but it's
adapter
like
thing
an
and
adapter.
everything. Mhm.
Yeah, I can't
Yeah,
with it.
the love of Mac.
I like parts of it. It's
Yeah.
pretty. I love the trackpad, but
Mhm.
like come on, USBs are basic and necessary.
Yeah. I mean, USB-C is now the main standard, which does plug in,
Right.
but
Yeah, but
yeah, it
I'm used to
doesn't
like
work with everything that you already own. So
yeah, only my like phone charger has that.
yeah.
These have a classic USB to
Mhm.
them. Maybe I
Yep.
just need to get the wireless ones.
I mean, future you problems.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Comments
I'm
coming.
sort of thinking on our topic that we
Mhm.
set out here. Um, and I imagine there are other people in the chat who have the same problem. So what
Probably.
if who probably are wondering like how do you sit down and choose something? How do you choose something in the end that you are going to finish?
Finish.
Mhm.
Ooh, that's a good question. I think for me, the current book that I'm working on is like it was just in my head for so long, and I had plotted out 3 books. So I was like, I have to make a start of this. And I spend so much time trying to figure this one out, kind of just like word vomiting everything and doing a first draft of it. Um, and I actually got to the end of a first draft, which was for me like very new, but somehow I made it work. I don't know what forced me to kind of write the end, kind of, but it somehow worked out. And then another project I chose to work on was just because it kept nagging me and it kept being in my brain. So then it's just kind of me thinking, okay, well, if I don't kind of stop thinking about it after a couple months after word vomiting it into my idea shelf, and I just keep thinking about it, keep coming back to it, then at some point I'm gonna have to write this because I can't keep going on with it just living in my head. So and it just made me feel very excited. So if I'm very excited about the story, I will start writing it.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like how you choose the ideas to begin with, but extend it. Like you have
Mhm.
the 1 week, but if then it continues on, then
Mhm.
obviously like, all right, this has to
Has to be a thing.
exist.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has to start
Yeah.
existing.
Yeah. And I think at some point I will go through all of the idea shelf things and kind of pick and choose. I think what I have now is I've discussed this with my critique partner. But basically I have so many like ideas that I could in some way like morph into the same world. So that's kind of what I want to do.
Oh, that would be
Um,
cool.
yeah, because I have like several story ideas about like artists, so like musicians and like stuff like that. And I'm like, well, they can all be in like a little pal group together,
Yeah,
and show up in
yeah.
each other's books. So that's what I would love to do. And I have like others where it's like I have a physical therapist. I have like people in the military that will need a physical therapist at some
Mm.
point, but they also have their own story. So it's like I could morph this into a whole universe of different books. And that's kind of what I would love to do at some point.
I think that's great. And especially if each of those individual ideas came from sort of an idea for an entire story, that's going to give
Mhm.
you so much more depth if you then like
Mhm.
smash them all together.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's a
So
great
that's
idea.
what I want to do. So I'm also kind of like, whenever I have a new story idea, I'm also thinking about how can I morph this into
Mm.
the rest of the world?
That's
So
exciting. It's cool.
yeah, it's very exciting. I just, have to sit down and actually do everything. But
Yeah.
yeah.
I think that's a great thing though for people to hear if anyone's having sort of trouble picking out what's going to be the one. Pick a bunch of them.
Yep. Just,
'Cause yeah,
sometimes it helps to just kind of get maybe even like a few words down, or a chapter, or kind of see how it flows to you. And then if one of them flows better, then go with that one.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
There's this story I like, and I always mess up the reference, and one of my parents will correct me, but my I'll just tell it the way I remember hearing it. The story's the same. My dad was working in an art studio, and they had this. So there were a few different artists collaborating in there, and they would sometimes work on projects together, and sometimes they had deadlines, and they'd have to push each other and stuff like, hey, get this done. And they had this new guy come in, and he had his page set up, and I guess he was like a penciler for graphic novels. And he would sit there, and he'd come into the studio every day and like make his coffee and then just sort of sit there and not do anything. And this happened for days. And one of the guys in the studio just got frustrated, and he took a pencil and he just like drew something, like just drew a line on the paper. And when the guy came in the next day, he looked at it like, and he just started drawing, and then he kept drawing. So they knew that he had to have something there. Otherwise, he wasn't going to be able to start it. So,
Blank page syndrome.
yeah. So I think that translates well to having even those tiny little snippets that
Mm.
it could create your entire piece. So write everything down.
Mm-hmm. That is something that I tell everyone though. Whenever you have an idea, just write it down. Even if you text it to yourself or something, just write it down, because tomorrow, if you think, oh, I'm gonna remember tomorrow, you won't.
Yeah.
If it's something like that you really were like, oh, I should write this down, write it down. Don't think about it twice, just write it down.
Hmm.
For me, with like my story ideas, I let it marinate a little bit longer because I have so many that I'm like, if I forget about it tomorrow, then it's not important enough for me to write down. But yeah, with like story ideas or even ideas for your current story, just always write them down. I
Yeah.
encourage it.
Yes, definitely. I agree. Um,
Really, chat
okay.
is popping.
I know I always
Gotta scroll
I
back now.
I know I have trouble sort of giving equal
Mm.
attention. I always have to separate it. People who do that flawlessly, like going between the conversation and the chat. I just
Yeah, admire them.
yeah, one day I'll figure it out maybe. Um,
I don't read fast enough for that chat.
Billy, oh snap, poets in the room. I've never tried that.
Nice.
Poems I can do, short stories I can't. Eh, So I wound up putting
Well,
2 poems into the Stygian collection. Uh, Speaking of iPads, what's the legality in using brands? I have a character that uses an iPad in my book and she calls it an iPad. Do I need to call it a tablet?
oh, I
Ooh,
don't know.
good question.
That is a good question.
So in a lot of cases with brands, and this is I'm speaking just from going to conventions where people do like fan art and stuff. Um, I know that a lot of it depends on how much money you're making, like whether the brand is going to sit up and take notice and how you're representing the brand. So a lot of the time, if you're sort of like a smaller indie writer and you say an iPad, like that is such a big brand that it is in our society, right? Like it's kind of hard for them to keep track of anything. And if you're not making millions of dollars off of it, and if you're not, I mean, it's hard to do this with an iPad, but like putting it in a weird, like in some sort of position that is derogatory to it or makes it like appear in some way that the brand wouldn't want it to appear, then I don't think you're going to have to worry. With smaller brands that might be paying attention to that stuff, maybe just don't unless you're talking it up, something like that. But I feel like something with a larger thing like Apple, iPad, iPhone, like that's at this point, it's in the fabric of our society. I think you can use it. Uh, what else here? Golnath says, I tell myself the story in my head and I lay out a foundation, then try to garden it from there.
That's a good way to approach it.
Yeah, I like it. And Bree's saying that her poems are a mess. I want to read them. I'm sure they're not a mess. And oh yeah, Sheraton also said depends on the brand for that. I think yeah, like it really depends. And some brands, oh here's a fun one. Don't include Sanrio stuff in your work, like Hello Kitty, that brand. They will find you and they
Okay.
will like punish you. I did a photo shoot with my friend back in college, so like a very long time ago now. It's like over a decade ago. And she was wearing a Hello Kitty patterned hoodie with a little necklace. It was just, a photo shoot. And I had a print up on a site like on Redbubble that I'd
Mhm.
forgotten about. And I got like a DMCA notice and Sanrio came after me and they were like, you can't use our products.
Oh wow.
Like it's you're like you're selling necklaces and clothing
Mhm.
and getting angry at people who are taking photos of people wearing that stuff. Like make it make sense.
Mm.
So of crazy brands, I would say don't mention Sanrio. Just stay away from them. Oh, Stephen King has a PC in every room of his house just in case he gets sudden inspiration. What about a notebook?
I have my phone. I
Yeah,
always have it with me. So
yeah, that's true.
most of the time, I sometimes leave it somewhere, but it's close enough.
Writing can be like cooking. Sometimes it just needs to marinate.
Yes.
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 I write 19 one-liner rhymes children's books. I need an illustrator and art agent. I like creating, not the business side. Oh, what would I do to
Ooh,
like it? Oh man,
that's rough.
that is
It's
hard.
yeah. Yeah.
Like, what
I
to
don't know
do
what
to
to
like it?
say. It's just difficult. Like the business side of it is difficult. Like all that
Yeah,
is just it's annoying.
that's the thing. Like, I don't think you're ever going to fully like it. I'm
No.
sorry
It's
to
work.
say,
Yeah.
because even when you start putting yourself out there and doing it, like, we're both doing it. We're doing it. And I think putting it forward in kind of a fun way, I hope,
Mhm.
but like you have to make it fun. It's
Yes.
really frustrating. I mean, you should send out query letters and stuff to get an agent to help you. But the thing is, you're always going to have to do a lot the
Mhm.
way the landscape is right now. If you want to be a writer, you have to be your own agent. Even if you do have an agent, they're going to expect you to do things. Your publisher is going to expect you to do things. You're going to have to promote yourself. But I guess the best thing I could suggest is to talk to your community. Because having people to commiserate with really means the world.
Mhm.
Like when we come on here and we can talk about like, oh yeah, I hate doing this too. It's
Yeah.
just sort
Makes you
of
feel
that.
less alone in the situation.
Yeah, because sometimes you can, and I had this when I first would watch people on AuthorTube. I would watch them and be like, you really like doing all of this. I don't know if I could
Mm.
be that way. And most of the time you find out they don't like it. They're just making it look like they do.
Yeah.
Um, but also marketing can be fun. It can be creative if you find the thing that works for you, do it in a way that you want. Being honest is going to draw people to you more. So don't try to copy what other people are doing. Just go like, well, how would I want to put my book out into the world? How would I want to be seen? How do I want to express myself, even if it's just like sitting down and talking about your process or something? Like just get a start, try to find something that's actually comfortable for you, and don't push yourself into doing what other people are doing, because that's going to be the worst.
Yeah. Do
I would
you,
say.
basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, if you don't have a community, I have a Discord server. There are writers in there. We chat. And if you ever want to come on and just say, what do I do? Or I hate doing this, then you are more than welcome to do that. Oh my gosh, we just so much chat.
So many comments.
You can love to hate something together. Yes, let's love to hate something
Yes.
together. Stephen King also wrote Cell, so I can't take everything he says as gospel. Oh dear. Also written a lot of other books that are fantastic. Every author has duds. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And every process is individual. Exactly. What's your name? Is that to me? If that is to me, it's Holly. um, and Hananya is here with me too.
Yes.
And my Discord, we're going to go into a final sprint pretty soon. And I think I was going to do another 15 or 20, but I think we'll go into a 30 just because of
Mhm.
how much conversation we have going here. And so we have a
Yes.
little bit of time at the end. But I'm just going to quickly share my Discord for anyone who wants it, especially because some people might need to head out. These sprints can be, they go for a little while. So, uh, I've got a link right here. So for anyone who wants to join the Discord, we do sprints on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Usually, sometimes my schedule is a little weird, but usually other people are there if I'm not. And if you want to commiserate about things, etc., please feel free to. It's a safe space for author complaints.
Yes. You need some place to vent, right? If
Yeah,
it's like people that you know, or a community, or like a Discord, or like something,
yeah,
something to
exactly.
get like your frustration out so you can keep going.
Yeah, because being a creative person, you tend to just want to create.
Mhm.
You don't want to talk about yourself. You don't want to
No.
advertise. You don't want to write that, back of the book blurb, and it just like the list goes on.
Mhm.
But you do
Yeah.
it, and then you come on and you tell everyone how much you hate it.
Yes. Set yourself timers like we're doing with these like sprints to do
Yeah.
like, writing or revising or something like that. Set yourself like a timer of like you're like really dreading doing something. Just be like, okay, I'm gonna do it for 30 minutes and then I'm gonna do something that I completely love. And then get through like some of the stuff. That's what I do whenever I have to do admin tasks because it's just I push it off until I'm like, I have like 200 emails in my inbox. Maybe I should get through them. So yeah, then I set
That's
myself like a timer and force myself to do it for 30 minutes and then
that's a
make
really good
progress,
idea. It's a really good idea for sure.
Yeah. And then
Um,
reward yourself for something that you enjoyed afterwards.
yes. Oh,
Yeah.
by the way, I kept meaning to mention for anyone who likes energy drinks, I'm just
Nice.
trying this one and it's
Okay.
amazing. Um, I always have my energy drink on
I was
Saturday.
wondering what you were sipping because it was like, I was like, ooh, that looks cute.
Yeah, usually it's the same thing, but this is new. It's peachy keen.
Okay.
It's one of the like sugar-free monsters. It's so good. Like it doesn't
Okay.
taste sugar-free. It's amazing. It's kind of like peach juice. I
Nice.
like it a
I like
lot. So
peach. Yeah.
yeah, highly
I'm just,
recommend.
drinking tea.
Tea is good too.
It's very
I
cold now, but it's fine.
oh no, iced tea.
There you go.
Okay, so oh, let's talk about one of Canada's most famous celebrities. Is William Shatner going to outlive all of us? That is a whole conversation. But yes, I can tell you, yes, he is. It'll be William Shatner and Keith Richards. They will be here along with the cockroaches
Until
and
the
the
end of time.
Twinkies. Yeah, cockroaches, Twinkies, Keith Richards, and Shatner, and that's it. That's what our
There
world is gonna come to in the end.
you
On that note, I'm gonna start our 30-minute sprint
Yes,
and
sounds
then
good.
we will be back after to check in with everyone and chat a
Yeah.
little bit before we wrap this up around like 4 Eastern. So
All right, sounds good.
time to get into it. half an hour is up already.
It's so quick again. Like,
Yes,
even though that was half an hour.
that kind of felt to me like even faster than the other ones. I don't know why.
Right? I don't know either.
I got like 1,000 words in though. Not well,
Yay. That
not
is
all
so good.
written, but like editing.
Yeah. But that's
Yeah.
good. That's good.
Yeah. Yeah. How about you?
I got through like a chapter and a half, which I think is pretty
Nice.
good.
Yeah,
Um, so like on this stream, I've gotten to 2 chapters probably total, which is pretty good,
that is
I would say.
good.
So yeah, it's nothing
I
fully changed. It's not done, but
but
it's progress.
it's a chunk.
Yeah,
I did, yeah, I finished one chapter and then I got like 4 paragraphs into another one. So it's
nice.
going slowly. This is I'm on page 25 of 100 and like the words there's oh my God, there's 416 pages. Let's just say
Uh,
that.
well, I don't
And
even know pages. I use Scrivener, so I just do it by
oh,
like
okay.
chapter file.
Okay. Oh God, this
But
would
yeah, I have like 32 chapters and I'm on chapter 12 now. So
okay. Yeah, I
yeah,
I'm on words, so I have like my word count and my page
right.
count and I actually know this is full pages. At first I was like, "Oh, did I divide it up yet with the sizing for print?" No, it's just still big pages and
Ooh.
it has to get
Heavy.
longer before it gets
Mm,
shorter,
yes.
unfortunately, so it's gonna
Is it double space
ugh,
though, or is it single
nope.
space?
Single.
Ooh.
This is the one I've been working on since I was 13 years old. It's been
Okay.
rewritten like a million times. It's a monster, but I think once I expand with this edit and then
Mhm.
contract, it's going to be really good. I think.
Nice.
Um, Catching up on the chat here.
Yes.
I'd seen a comment about the Kickstarter. So yeah, Kickstarter does an all or nothing uh, fundraiser platform. So technically, like if you don't reach the end, you don't get any of it. But we already have like backup plans and stuff, so it's going to be successful. And even if it weren't, we would be putting the book out anyway. That's our commitment. The unfortunate thing about Kickstarter, aside from that, but also like they do that because it adds a bit of a sense of urgency. So I shouldn't be saying we're going to do it anyway, but we are. We're committed to putting this book out, and but the thing is, they have fees. So when you set up your Kickstarter, they tell you how much their fees are going to be, and they suggest that you add that amount onto your funding. So a chunk of that, which we've listed in the description, is for Kickstarter fees. So the actual goal is 5,000, and that it goes towards, there's a lot that we're personally funding, but that aspect goes towards marketing and our artist, because we have an incredible artist who we've hired who is worth every cent that we are fundraising to pay her. And we also have a graphic designer and a social media marketer who's gradually coming on. And so the thing with the Stygian Society is our goal is to put out these really, really beautiful books that you just want to devour. So with this being our first one, we not only want to give all the authors the promotion they deserve by having a really strong marketing plan, but we also want to make sure that the book looks really good and represents us as a whole, which is, you know, what we want to produce moving forward. So I imagine that after this, our Kickstarters will likely be a bit smaller, a bit more pared down as we go along. But this one is sort of, it's a big kickoff. There's a lot of people involved, and we just want to make it extra special. So that is where our numbers are coming from. So if anyone's able to support, we are very happy to receive your support, even if it's $1, because the dollar pushes the Kickstarter into the algorithm more, which makes it visible to more people who are regularly donating to things. So then they'll donate, et cetera, et cetera. And yeah, the music I'm playing is actually off of Zoom. There's a Zoom app that does music, which is kind of annoying because it tends to be repetitive, and some of the songs show up and you're just like, ah, no, that's not it. There's a couple in there. So I'm looking for a different way of doing this. I used to stream using like an OBS system, but it was not good for having guests. it was kind of difficult to manage. And that I had great music and I had a pretty background, but I haven't had the time to figure out another option. And Zoom is just easy right now. Everyone can access it. It's yeah, it's much better. Oh, Sheraton said time flied. Flied. It flies, yes. Scrivener has to get longer before it gets shorter. Someone clip it or make it a GIF. That's an amazing GIF that can be used out of context. Yes.
Can be used for so many things.
Oh dear. On that note,
Anyway.
now, was there anything else that you wanted to discuss with our chat about writing or about things you're working on?
I mean, I feel like I could talk for a decade. So
Yeah, I feel that.
you know, so we probably best not get into it too much. But yeah, just in general, and enjoy it. That's the most important thing. Enjoy the journey, and find a community that's gonna support you, because that's really gonna help.
Yeah.
Writing can be a lonely thing, but if you find some people that are doing it as well, then you can share in those like moments where you feel a little bit down or stuff like that. So find yourself some cool people to surround yourself with, and then you'll be set.
Absolutely. And also all those little weird quirks, you'll probably find someone else who has the same weird writing quirks as you, and you'll be very surprised. Like, oh, I do that and you do that. Oh, so nice.
Yeah, you're not alone.
Yeah. So I actually have a call at 4, which I'm very excited about, the podcast I mentioned. So
Yeah.
we're going to be chatting about that. As of course, check out Hananya's channel. It's great. There's lots of awesome advice, and you can watch her process with writing and talking about the collection and her podcast, everything like that. Highly recommend. If you have not subscribed to me yet, please do. I will be posting actual videos again. It's, I think, May. I'm still trying to like cement this location for filming, and the people I'm talking with are very hard to get a hold of. So I might have to actually pick up a phone, which I don't like doing. I'm trying to set it up, and it'll be cool when I do it again. But for now, I'm doing lives every Saturday, and you can follow me on social media and stuff like that. Follow the Kickstarter, donate if you can, share it around if you can. That helps too. And yeah, I think that's about it for now. I will let everyone have their Saturday back. And thank you to everyone who joined us. It's always great having you here, and it's fun chatting. I think we always have a good little conversational group going on, and I enjoy it a lot. So since my stream will completely close out, I just wanted to say thank you again for being a guest, Hananya. It's great having you here. I always enjoy talking, and I'm so glad to be publishing your story too.
Yeah, I'm very excited. So thank you for having me.
So for everyone, I hope that you all have a day that is just as wonderful as you are, and we'll talk next week. Bye.